Hello, welcome to Anime Unlocked. Enjoy our anime recap about Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Happy watch! In the opening scene of the first episode, Cruelty, we see heavy snow falling on the mountains. A boy is running with his unconscious sister, who has a wound on his back and is crying out, "How did this happen?" He also says that his sister does not die in his arms and begs her to stay alive, promising to save her no matter what, and he was saying that his elder brother would save him. This boy is named Tanjiro Kamado, a kind-hearted and intelligent boy who lives with his family in the mountains. After his father died, he took over the family's livelihood, making trips to the nearby village to sell charcoal. The next scene shows that he is ready with a basket of coal. His mother appears and tells him that he doesn't have to go because the snow is dangerous. She tells him of her concern for his safety due to heavy snowfall while he is selling. He explains his wish for everyone in his family to eat well for New Year, willing to sell as much charcoal as possible. His mother thanks him. His sister and brother asked if he would attend town today. Then they also expressed their desire to go with him, but their mother disagrees because they cannot walk as fast as Tanjiro. They still want to go, after which Tanjiro tells them he will bring something good for them when he arrives. Then they do not speak anymore when he reassures Hanako and Shigeru both that he will give them his attention after returning. Then he sees his other younger brother, Takeo, and instructs him to chop firewood for them. Takeo is somewhat annoyed at being unable to join him, causing Tanjiro to pat his head gently in reassurance, and Tanjiro begins to walk. As he leaves, he meets his younger sister Nezuko, carrying their youngest sibling, Rokuda. She tells them they all looked up to him as a role model since their father's death, wishing him luck as he leaves. Tanjiro kept thinking that their life was difficult, but they were happy. Life is as changeable and moving as the weather at any moment. Life is never the same, and happiness is destructive. When he reaches a nearby town, one says he didn't think he would come down from the mountains to town in this weather. Another said thank you for fixing her sliding door. Someone called for coal. Then a young boy came and asked for help, saying he was accused of breaking plates. After using his sharp sense of smell, he deduces that a cat has broken it. To the man's relief, Tanjiro says it smells like a cat. Then an older person calls out for help. With his basket empty and the night has arrived, Tanjiro heads home but is stopped by an elderly neighbor warning him not to enter the mountain. Although Tanjiro insists that he is safe with his sense of smell, the man sternly tells him to take residence at his home for the night instead, as demons roam about during the night. While eating dinner, Tanjiro asks the man, Saburo, about what demons are like. He tells them that demons devour humans and are only active in the dark, hence the danger of crossing the mountain at this time. He then tells Tanjiro to go to sleep when he is done eating. Afterward, Tanjiro thanked him for the food and lay on the bed while Saburo smoked tobacco. Tanjiro asks if demons would enter houses, to which Saburo says so. He then states that is why demon slayers are present to protect them. Tanjiro then closes his eyes and thinks Saburo has lost his whole family. He must feel lonely because of that. He will bring his siblings here next time he comes here, and say that you have nothing to fear. There is no demon here. You are safe, as Tanjiro's grandmother used to say to him in his childhood when she was alive. When Tanjiro leaves to go home the next day, he says, "When happiness is destroyed, there must be a smell of blood." Suddenly, he detects the scent of blood and hurriedly runs to his house. In the front yard, he sees a bloodied and lifeless Nezuko with Rokuda in her arms. In shock, he ran over to her body and asked what had happened before turning his head and looking inside his house. To his horror, he finds his mother and the rest of his family dead, with blood scattered throughout the house. Tanjiro carries Nezuko across the snowing mountain for help in the town, having felt that her body is the only one still warm. If he can get him to a doctor, she can survive. Whose work does Tanjiro think it might be? Of a bear, as he tries to make sense of what could have happened. Tanjiro's breathing is difficult due to the cold stormy wind and his lungs ache, but he does not stop. Without warning, Nezuko starts twitching and rears herself up as she groans in an animalistic manner. She grabs Tanjiro, and they fall to the mountain path down a cliff. Protected from the fall by the thick snow, Tanjiro looked up and saw his sister standing upright. When he asks if she can walk alone, Nezuko instead tries to attack him, forcing him to put his hatchet's handle in her mouth to prevent getting bit. Tanjiro recalls Saburo's words, realizing Nezuko is now a demon but does not believe she was responsible for killing everyone, remembering that another scent was present in the house. Nezuko grows in size, and Tanjiro struggles to keep her at bay. His family died brutally while he slept, and now Tanjiro begs her to hold back and not be a demon. Hearing his words, Nezuko starts to cry and ceases her attack on her brother. A young man wielding a sword speeds towards them and jumps. Tanjiro notices him and forces Nezuko out of the way of the strike, much to the swordsman's confusion. His blade comes down and just slightly misses Tanjiro's head. The force of the swing creates a windstorm that knocks Tanjiro and Nezuko away. Tanjiro noticed the words "destroy demons" etched on the blade. The swordsman asks why he is protecting the demon, to which Tanjiro replies that the demon is his younger sister, Nezuko. With the demon in his grasp, the swordsman informs Tanjiro his job is to kill demons, and he will behead Nezuko. Tanjiro tells the demon slayer that another scent was present at their house during his family's murder, and it was perhaps the real culprit. The demon slayer informs him that she has transformed into a demon since her wounds were exposed to the demon's blood, and he raises his sword toward her neck. Remembering his lost mother and siblings, Tanjiro begs him not to take the last fragment of his family away. He tells Tanjiro that perhaps the demons know how to cure his sister and change her back into a human, but insists that he shouldn't get his hopes up since they won't be willing to help, similar to how the Slayer finds his idea preposterous. He says that his failures led to her capture in the first place and that he could have killed him and her in one strike if he wanted to. The swordsman stabs Nezuko in the shoulder, and Tanjiro retaliates by hurling a stone at him, which is deflected quickly. Tanjiro saw his fallen hatchet and ran toward the demon slayer in a frontal attack driven by emotion. Seeing his feeble effort, the demon slayer slams his sword handle into Tanjiro's back, knocking him unconscious. Suddenly, he notices that Tanjiro is not armed. He hears the sound of a spinning object, looks up in time, and ducks his head to the side as the hatchet flies towards him, barely missing its mark. Then he saw the demon about to pounce on the unconscious Tanjiro, and Nezuko stood before her brother, ready to protect him. The Slayer recalls Tanjiro's words that Nezuko would never harm humans and quickly believes them, despite recalling that someone else said the same thing about their family member, only to be devoured at the end a long time ago, and knowing that demons will often kill their family members after transforming. As Nezuko attacks him to protect Tanjiro, he realizes she is injured and spends energy to heal her wounds and fight him while fighting against eating her brother for food. Realizing this demon is different, the swordsman chooses to spare her. As Tanjiro lies in the snow, he is visited by visions of his dead family. His mother apologizes for leaving him alone and asks that he takes care of Nezuko. He wakes up to find her beside him with a bamboo muzzle. After regaining consciousness, the demon slayer instructs Tanjiro to find an older man named Sakonji Urokadaki, who lives at the foot of Mount Sagiri. Giyu warns him not to let Nezuko get exposed to sunlight before vanishing. After burying his family in the front yard of their house, Tanjiro took Nezuko's hand, left their home, and made their way to the mountain. In the opening scene of the next episode, we see that before going to Mount Sagiri, Tanjiro asks a farmer in the village if he can borrow his basket and bamboo. The farmer allows him, and Tanjiro offers to pay. The farmer refuses to take the money because it has holes, but Tanjiro wants to give him the money. He again refuses to take the money. He even offers baskets and bamboo for free, but Tanjiro insists on paying him. Frustrated, he tells Tanjiro he can take it for free, but Tanjiro gives him the money and rushes to the tunnel, where he finds Nezuko, but not seeing him, then finds her in an earthen excavation, which he keeps out of sunlight. After repairing the basket, Tanjiro asks his sister if he can fit inside it, speaking slowly because he isn't sure if she can fully understand him. She shrinks herself to fit in, and fits. Tanjiro straps the basket on his back. Now he can protect her from the sun and carry her. Tanjiro asks a woman on the way for directions. She warns Tanjiro that people have also gone missing here and urges him to be careful. As night falls, Tanjiro and Nezuko find a temple in the forest as it gets dark. Tanjiro smells blood as he approaches and runs inside. Opening the door reveals that the occupants are bleeding to death and a demon is eating the corpse. The smell of blood makes Nezuko greedy and her mouth starts salivating. The demon gets angry at Tanjiro's interference and asks, "Are you two human?" The light goes out, and the demon attacks Tanjiro. He slashes her neck with his hatchet. The demon was somewhat impressed by the cut, but within seconds the blood flow from the deep cut stopped, and the demon disappeared in an instant with incredible speed and suddenly grabbed Tanjiro. Controlling herself, Nezuko rushes to save her brother and kicks the demon in the head, causing the head to fall away. Tanjiro saw that his sister had killed the demon, but the demon's body tries to grab him, kicking Nezuko and throwing the body away. The demon head then starts talking to him, annoyed that he is a demon like them, so why does he have such a strange vibe, and he attacks Tanjiro. When his body comes running, Nezuko beats him up and throws him into the forest, attaching the demon's head to his hatchet. Tanjiro attacks it, stuns it with his hard skull, and throws it at a tree, pinning the head there. Tanjiro then goes off to find Nezuko. At the edge of a cliff, Tanjiro finds the body that Nezuko was kicking. Tanjiro rushes, body slams him, and falls off the cliff. Nezuko caught her brother before he could fall, and the demon's head fainted as the body fell and felt the pain. Then Tanjiro wants to kill him, and then a new character emerges, and said that he couldn't kill him with a knife. The man caught his scent that he was too kind to kill the demons. The demon then wakes up and tries to grab Tanjiro and abuse him. At that point, the sun rises, and the light burns the demon to ashes, and he realizes that the demon died in the sunlight and runs to find Nezuko. He was relieved to see her inside the temple basket, safe from the sun. After burying the dead at the temple, the man introduces himself as Sakonji Urokodaki, and he assumes that Tenjiro was sent by Giyu. Tenjiro introduces himself and Nezuko. Then the man asks what your sister will do when she starts eating people. Shocked by the question, Tenjiro doesn't answer, and she slaps him and says that he is too slow to decide, even as Sakonji criticizes him for his hesitation to kill a demon. If Nezuko starts killing someone, she should react appropriately, killing him and then killing himself. That's what traveling with your sister that turned into a demon means. Sakonji warns her that it will never happen. He then tells her to test him to see if he can join the Demon Slayer Corps and tells him to follow her, carrying Nezuko. In the middle of the day, Tenjiro chases after Sakonji, who is far ahead of him. Tenjiro was surprised by his speed. As the sun sets, Tenjiro arrives at Sakonji's house at the foot of the mountain and asks if he's passed the exam. Sakonji tells him that the test will begin now, and they will climb the mountain, which shocks the exhausted Tenjiro. Walking up the mountain, Sakonji suddenly stopped and turned to Tenjiro, ordering him to go down the mountain before dawn. Tenjiro thinks he will try to dry his sin, so he does, but soon realizes that there are numerous traps in the mountain. Then he realizes he cannot take it down before morning if he gets hurt like this, and he feels even worse because of the difficulty in breathing, because of thin air in the mountains. He prepares to descend Mount Sagiri and takes a deep breath with a clear path. He descends and avoids most of the traps, and reached before the morning. Sakonji then remembers Giyu's letter to her. Giyu suddenly requests to ask someone to train him, and Sakonji sees the exhausted and injured Tenjiro and accepts him as his student. If you enjoy this recap, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you the synopsis of the next episodes. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.